Students, in our last class, under chapter Chemical Coordination and Integration, we have learned till parathyroid gland, isn't it? Today we will continue discussing next endocrine gland that is present in the breastbone behind the heart in the chest portion, that is thymus gland. You can see the location there, they are showing chest portion here, chest. You can see in between the lungs where heart is located, behind the heart, okay, or just above the heart. You can see there, they are showing here. See, this is thymus gland in the chest portion. Heart is here, just above the heart, okay. You can see there, heart will be located here between two lungs. Just above that you can see one orange color part they are showing, that is thymus gland. Okay, here you can see that this is thyroid gland on the top, then this is trachea, then this is heart. Just above the heart, these two, what you see, two lobes are there. You see, these are two lobes. Okay, here also they are showing two lobes. This is right side lobe, this is left side lobe. Right lobe and left lobe of thymus gland. Okay, this is very important, which is required for immunity, giving defense system in the body. We can fight with the diseases and germs because of this gland also. Okay, so it's a bilobed gland located between the lungs. Bilobed means two lobes are there, two parts are there, left lobe and right lobe. Two bilobed structure. It's a gland located between the lungs. You can see there, they are showing these are the two lungs here on either side, and it is located exactly in between the lungs. Okay, behind the sternum. You know what is sternum means, where all the ribs join, that point, you know, where ribs join, that point we call sternum. No, so behind the sternum on the ventral side of aorta. So on the ventral side of aorta, you can see that it secretes very important hormone that is called thymosin. Thymosin is a type of hormone which is a peptide hormone, means protein hormone, that is peptide bond is there, peptide hormone. You know that all the enzymes are proteins, all the hormones are also proteins. Okay, so it's a peptide hormone. So thymosin gland present in between the lungs, in behind the sternum, in the breastbone, just above the heart, produces important hormone thymosin. What are the functions of thymosin? We will see. Differentiation of T lymphocytes and provide cell mediated immunity. You know what is the meaning of this. Lymphocytes, which is a type of white blood corpuscle. There are two types of lymphocytes, you know, B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. B lymphocyte produces antibodies and gives protection to us, fights with the diseases or germs. Then T lymphocyte doesn't produce antibody, but it helps B lymphocyte to produce antibody. And very important thing is, T lymphocyte identifies self and non-self. Means T lymphocyte identifies which is our body cells and which is outer, which come from outside, which is foreign body and which is a part of our body. T lymphocytes will identify. Okay, like if any new virus or bacteria enters, which is foreign body, isn't it, which came from outside, that T lymphocyte will first identify, then only B lymphocyte can produce antibodies. So differentiation means growth of T lymphocytes which provide cell mediated immunity. You know what is cell mediated immunity means? Identifying self and non-self. Okay, then promote antibody production for humoral immunity. That is, humoral immunity is by producing chemicals called antibodies. Now you know, now for COVID-19 also they are talking about antibody production. Vaccine, when they give, vaccine is either inactivated virus or dead virus. Okay, same virus which causes COVID-19, that is coronavirus, is only injected, but dead virus or inactivated virus they inject. Then for that virus, antibodies will be produced in the body. So antibodies are produced by B lymphocytes. For that process also, this is thymosin is required. So thymosin hormone will promote antibody production for humoral immunity. So if antibodies are produced in our body, it is because of B lymphocytes, and B lymphocytes are promoted by thymosin. So very important, which is required for immunity. Okay. Then next, thymus gland. Thymus is degenerated in old individuals. You know, this is very interesting part, that once we were born, when we were born, babies, newborn babies will have thymus gland which is larger in size. Then slowly, when they start growing, the thymus gland starts reducing in size. So we have small thymus gland, but when we were in childhood, when we were infants, baby, at that time thymus was large. So thymus when we were born will be large, then it becomes smaller. Later, when in old individuals, like after 55 or 60 years of age, thymus gland will be degenerated. Okay, thymus gland becomes very small and it will degenerate, disappear. So production of thymosins decrease. Not completely it will disappear, but it starts degenerating, means it becomes smaller and smaller. Then what happens? Production of thymosin hormone decreases. As a result, immune response of old persons become weak. That is why in old age the immunity will be low. They prone to get disease. I mean, they are very weak, so they have more chances of getting a disease. You know, you have seen that even COVID-19 also, the coronavirus also kills old age people first. That is why vaccine was given for people having more than 45 years of age, you know, where thymus gland will be degenerated, thymus gland becomes smaller and smaller, then thymosin production decreases, then antibody production also decreases. So they will have very less immunity. Okay, next we are learning about adrenal gland. Name only says. Word renal means kidney. Cells of kidney we call renal cells. Adrenal, word ed refers to just above the, you can see here, this is a kidney, that is a renal organ. Just above the kidney you can see the orange color cap like structure, that is called adrenal gland. Name says adrenal means just above the kidney, present just above the kidney. If you take cross section of that, it is like a triangular structure you see there, adrenal gland. If you take a cross section, you can see two parts. The outer layer, what you see there, outer layer, yellowish color, that is called cortex. And inner part, inner cavity, what you see, that is called medulla. You know, two parts are there. Outer layer is called cortex, inner layer is called medulla. Okay, so it has two parts. Adrenal cortex, that is the outer part here, this yellow color part what you see, and inner orange color part what you see, that is a medulla. Okay. Then what that outer part does, cortex, what it does, it has three layers again. The outer cortex has three layers. Outermost layer is called zona glomerulosa. You can see here. The outermost layer is called like a skin, outer skin, that is zona glomerulosa. Then middle layer is called zona fasciculata. Middle layer is called zona fasciculata. Then innermost layer is called zona reticularis. So outermost layer is zona glomerulosa, then middle layer is zona fasciculata, and innermost layer is zona reticularis. So three layers are there in the cortex again. Okay, then it produces hormones called corticoid hormones. Corticoid hormones. Okay, like steroid hormones. They are steroid hormones called corticoid hormones. What all hormones it produces? Together it is called corticoid hormone. What all comes under corticoid hormone? We will see now one by one. First one, glucocorticoids. Mainly cortisol. Name of the hormone is cortisol. Glucocorticoids means there are many hormones. Out of that, one is cortisol. Okay, cortisol is one of the glucocorticoid. Means Glucocorticoids are many hormones. Out of that, cortisol is one. Then it produces mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids, mainly aldosterone hormone. You know, this is there in excretory products and elimination chapter. You have already learnt aldosterone hormone. Aldosterone. Okay, then androgenic corticoids. Androgenic corticoids. Okay, that is required for male reproductive system. Androgenic corticoids. So 3 types of corticoid hormones it produces. What are those? Glucocorticoids, mainly cortisol. Mineralocorticoids, mainly aldosterone. Then androgenic corticoids. Okay, now we will go to next slide. That is same adrenal cortex only. What all glucocorticoids it produces and what is their main function? Already we learned glucocorticoids produced are glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids. Then we have learned one more, that is glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids and androgenic corticoids. So first one we will see in detail. Glucocorticoids, what is their function? It is involved in carbohydrate metabolism. So if carbohydrate has to be digested and end product should be transported, all that metabolism of carbohydrate is done by glucocorticoids. Then stimulate gluconeogenesis, then lipolysis and proteolysis. That is stimulates gluconeogenesis, means production of glucose from glycogen. Glucose is produced. For production of glucose, conversion of other compound into glucose also goes with gluconeogenesis formation. Lipolysis means breakdown of lipids. Then proteolysis means breakdown of proteins. Breakdown means one larger protein will break into many amino acids. Large material will be broken into individual pieces. Okay, like you think about a garland. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಹೂವಿನ ಮಾಲೆ ಅಂತೀವಲ್ಲ, ವೆನ್ ಯು ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ದೆನ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸಪ್ರೇಟೆಡ್, ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೂಗಳು ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತವೆ ಆ ಥರ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಲೈಸಿಸ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಡೌನ್, ಅಂದರೆ ತುಂಡು ತುಂಡು ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರೋಟಿಯೋಲೈಸಿಸ್, ಲೈಪೋಲೈಸಿಸ್, ಗ್ಲೂಕೋನಿಯೋಜೆನೆಸಿಸ್. Okay, then inhibits cellular uptake and utilization of amino acids. Cells taking amino acids and using amino acids will be inhibited, means it stops cells of our body to use amino acids. Then maintain cardiovascular system and kidney functions. You already know this. Cardiovascular function means it maintains circulation of blood from the heart and into the heart. Then kidney functions also it maintains. You already know, you have learned this about kidney functions. That is renin angiotensin aldosterone mechanism, no? Renin angiotensin mechanism already you have learned. That is regulation of kidney function. So it maintains kidney function also. Then cortisol hormone, which is one type of glucocorticoid that stimulate RBC production. So cortisol hormone is required for red blood corpuscle production. Then produces anti-inflammatory reactions and suppress immune response. So it produces anti-inflammatory reactions. What is inflammation means? Inflammation means like burning red patches, no, on the skin and inside the body also sometimes. So burning, itching sensation, red patches will be produced there. That is called inflammation. Produces, so glucocorticoid produces anti-inflammatory reactions. Other than inflammation, some other reactions it produces and suppresses immune system. So immune system it suppresses, means immune system it doesn't help it to grow, means it disturbs immune system. Then second type of corticoid hormone, that is mineralocorticoids. Name only says minerals. Regulate water, electrolyte and osmotic pressure of blood. So in the body also It regulates water, that is body fluid volume, meaning how much water should be there in the body will be decided by mineralocorticoids. Then osmotic pressure of the body fluids is also maintained by mineralocorticoids, that is sodium, potassium, pump, all that you know. Like how much minerals should be there in the body also decided. So how many cations and anions should be there, positive, negative ions, that also will be balanced. Then electrolytic balance also, like how many like how much, in what quantity minerals should be there in the body, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, all that, zinc, how much it should be there in the body, all that is decided by mineralocorticoids. Even blood pressure is also controlled by mineralocorticoids. Blood pressure, you know, people having high blood pressure should not eat salt, you know, because salt is a sodium salt, you know. Sodium, if you take more, then it may increase blood pressure. So definitely minerals in our bodies is balanced, and blood pressure is balanced by mineralocorticoids, very important. Then aldosterone is one type of mineralocorticoid. Okay, it stimulates reabsorption of sodium and water from DCT, distal convoluted tubules, and excretion of K plus and phosphate ions, no, that is PO4 3 minus ions. You know this aldosterone hormone is required for reabsorption of sodium and water from distal convoluted tubule of nephron. Then excretion of K plus and PO4 3 minus. So removal of K plus and PO4 3 minus also because of aldosterone hormone, very important. Then one more is there, that is called androgenic corticoids. Androgenic corticoids, it is required for growth of axial hair, pubic hair and facial hair during puberty. Very important, androgenic corticoids. This hormone is required for facial hairs, that is in male especially, getting mustache and beard, no, ಅಂದರೆ ಮೀಸೆ ಮತ್ತು ಗಡ್ಡ ಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾರಣ androgenic corticoids. Okay, so some people don't get beard and mustache properly, okay, like a patches they get, they have less androgenic corticoids in their body. So androgenic corticoids. Then hair on the body also, like on the chest and all, the male will have hair, that is also because of androgenic corticoids. So axial hair, then hair in the armpit also, okay, that is also because of androgenic corticoids. So axial hair, pubic hair, meaning, you know, pubic hair means hairs around reproductive organs, that is around the testis in male, hairs will be there, that is also called pubic hair. Even in female also, around the vagina, around the female reproductive part also, hairs will be there, that is called pubic hair. So complete body hair, that is axial hair, then facial hair, that is mustache and beard. Sometimes female also get mild mustache, you know, very less, that is what they do, threading and all, they do threading and they remove. So not all, some female only. Then facial hair, body hairs and pubic hair, hair around the reproductive organ, is also because of androgenic corticoids. Then so one part of adrenal gland we finished, that is outer cortex, no, that is about the hormones. Then what about the disorders? Any disease or disorder is there? Deficiency of these hormones, deficiency of these corticoid hormones like glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids and androgenic corticoids. If they are produced in less quantity, then what happens? Then it can affect carbohydrate metabolism, carbohydrate digestion doesn't happen, then it causes acute weakness. You know, carbohydrate is required for giving energy for everyday work. Like rice, what we eat, rice, that is also pure carbohydrate only. So carbohydrate gives energy for 24 hours. Means for everyday work, what energy we require for daily work, for that energy is provided by carbohydrates. But if carbohydrate metabolism is affected because of less corticoids, then person will have weakness. Whatever you eat, whatever carbohydrate you eat, if it is not digested, then it causes weakness, no? Because no digestion, no absorption, no energy. So it causes acute weakness and fatigue. Fatigue meaning, tiredness. A person feels very tired, weak. This is called Addison's disease. So this kind of disease is called Addison's disease. This is name of the scientist, Addison. Addison's disease. What is this disease? If corticoids, that is a hormones produced by adrenal cortex part, is produced in less quantity, then carbohydrate digestion doesn't happen. Carbohydrate metabolism is affected. Because of that, because carbohydrate is not digested, no energy is produced in the body, so person will have less energy, so he feels weakness and fatigue, that is tiredness. This kind of disease is called Addison's disease. Okay. Next. One part we finished, that is one part of adrenal gland, that is cortex, outer part. What about the inner part of adrenal gland, that is called adrenal medulla? Okay, which produces hormone called catecholamine hormone. You see, catecholamine. How you pronounce? Some people say catecholamine. That is wrong pronunciation. We say catecholamine. See, adrenal medulla produces catecholamine hormones like adrenaline hormone. You know this in 10th standard you have learnt. Adrenaline is also called epinephrine hormone. Then it produces one more called noradrenaline. Okay, this is also called norepinephrine. Adrenaline is called epinephrine, noradrenaline is called norepinephrine. Okay, norepinephrine. So they are rapidly secreted in response to stress. This adrenaline hormone is called fight response hormone or flight response hormone, or importantly it is called emergency hormone. Like when you are in a severe stress, or when you are in a severe tension, or you are in danger, like you are walking, in front of you tiger appears. Okay, then you know what happens next. You start running. At that time when you see tiger, okay, at that time what happens, heartbeat increases, then you will be in severe stress and you will be in lot of tension at that time. Then suppose you are in the top of the building, okay, your leg slips and you are about to fall. At that time what happens, that is lot of stress and you are in danger and you are very scared. At that time also this hormone is produced in large quantity. Then some people will have stage fear, like suddenly their name is called on the stage, that this person will give a speech or he will introduce a chief guest, but you don't know the name of chief guest also. Then suddenly what happens, or somebody suddenly asked you to sing on the stage, but you don't know, you are not at all prepared. That time also you are scared. Okay, then suddenly you saw a snake in front of you. In all these cases, this adrenal medulla produces hormone called adrenaline hormone. Okay, why it produces adrenaline hormone? Because this adrenaline hormone controls your body. Otherwise what happens, blood pressure increases, then person will die. Because of severe blood pressure, person will die. Heartbeat increases. To control yourself, to come out of danger or to come out of stress situation, these hormones are produced. So these hormones are produced rapidly in response to stress emergency situations. So they are called emergency hormones, or hormones of fight or hormones of flight. So we call fight response hormone or flight response hormone or emergency hormone. So when you are scared or when you are in tension, at that time these hormones will be produced, and these hormones will save you. Otherwise what happens, if these hormones are not produced, person will die. Because when you are scared, blood pressure increases several folds. I mean, rapidly it increases. Something is required to bring that blood pressure level down. No? That is why these hormones are required. Then what about the other functions? These hormones increase alertness. See, I told you, when you are scared, what happens, you will be very alert. Your concentration is only on what is happening there at that situation. At that time you don't think about other things. Okay, like if tiger chases you or a dog chases you, only thing is your concentration is only on the tiger and dog, and concentration is only on how you can escape that situation. You will not think about any other things at that time. So it gives you alertness. Okay, then pupillary dilation. Pupillary dilation means, at that time your eyesight, and you will look at that point only exactly. Meaning, with concentration you will look at that object. Suppose now tiger is chasing you, with lot of concentration, your concentration and your eyesight is exactly on tiger, where it is running and how it is coming towards you, all that. So pupillary dilation, meaning blood vessels which supplies blood to eyes, they dilate. If they don't dilate, what happens, the blood vessels will burst. Okay, so the blood vessel become wider, the blood vessel agalagt, so that more blood with pressure comes, but it slows down blood pressure. So piloerection, that is rising of hairs. Sometimes when you are thrilled or when you are scared, in all those cases your body hairs will stand straight. Okay, that is piloerection, a rising of hairs. Then sweating, like when you are scared, suddenly you start sweating. Then heartbeat increases. Then heart contraction and respiratory rate, means heart starts contracting very fast. Means heartbeat increases, your breathing rate also increases when you are scared. All these are the situations. Okay. They also stimulate breakdown of glycogen to increase glucose in the blood. So you require more energy at that time. When you are scared, you will have lot of energy, because whatever glycogen is there in the body, whatever stored energy glycogen is there, that glycogen will be converted to glucose. So more glucose is added to your blood, so you get more energy at that time. Okay, then it also stimulates breakdown of lipids and proteins. Whatever proteins and lipids are there, that is also broken and finally converted to energy. So you get extra energy because of that. Okay, then we'll go to next slide. So with this adrenal gland we finished. Now we have to learn about next gland, that is heterocrine gland, pancreas. Why did I call this as heterocrine gland? Because pancreas has both endocrine part and exocrine part. Like one part of pancreas is exocrine, that is ducted gland, and other part of pancreas is ductless gland, that is endocrine. So pancreas is endocrine and exocrine both, so we call it as heterocrine gland. So we see pancreas, I don't have to tell you what is the location, but also it is my duty to show. You can see here location in the abdomen part, no? That is a composite or heterocrine gland. Now what is composite meaning? Two parts joined. Like some colleges we call composite college. You know what is the meaning? They have from 1st standard to 10th standard, that is school, plus 11th and 12th, that is PUC first year and second year, both they have. So PUC first year, second year is called college, then up to 10th standard it is called school. School and college together in the same building, then it is called junior college or composite college. The word meaning composite means joined. Okay, so here endocrine part and exocrine part both are joined, so it's a composite gland also called heterocrine gland, because pancreas has both exocrine part and endocrine part. Okay, so endocrine part is called islets of Langerhans. Endocrine part of pancreas is called islets of Langerhans. Okay, you can see here pancreas they are showing this part, this part they are showing highlighted. This is islets of Langerhans. See, they are showing here this part, that is islets of Langerhans. Okay, so you can see here purple color cell present here, or blue color, what you see, that is islets of Langerhans. Okay, not these surrounding cells, I am talking about the central cell present in the center, that blue color cell, that is islets of Langerhans. So endocrine part of pancreas is called islets of Langerhans. It has two types of cells. Actually it has three types. In the textbook they show two types: alpha cells and beta cells. You know already. There are about 1 to 2 million islets. About 1 to 2 million islets of Langerhans are there in pancreas, which constitutes 2%, just 1 to 2% of pancreatic tissue. Means in the pancreas, endocrine part of pancreas is just 1 to 2% of pancreas. Because 1 to 2% of pancreas has islets of Langerhans, which is a endocrine part, and it has two types of cells, alpha cells and beta cells, where alpha cells produce hormone called glucagon. Glucagon, you can see there it's written, it's glucagon. And beta cells produce insulin. Very important. Glucagon, when it is produced, it increases sugar level in the blood. So blood sugar level increases when glucagon is produced. If blood sugar level increases like that, then person will die. So something is required to bring that sugar level down and balance it. That is done by insulin. So insulin is released by beta cells, which will bring that sugar level down and balances. So you know what is diabetes mellitus? That is sugar, what you call madhumeha, sakare kaile, sugar or diabetes we say. Diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is when glucagon is produced but insulin is not produced. Okay, then it is diabetes mellitus. So first one, it is called glucagon hormone, that is also called hyperglycemic factor. Why it is called hyperglycemic? Because glucose level in the blood, it increases. When glucagon is produced by alpha cells of islets of Langerhans of pancreas, then in the blood sugar level increases. Okay, that is why it is called hyperglycemic factor. It acts on hepatocytes. You know what is hepatocytes? Hepatocytes means cells of liver. You know, hepatic cells means cells of liver. So it acts on hepatocytes and stimulates glycogenolysis. You know what is glycogenolysis? Breakdown of glycogen. Glycogen is a reserved food in animals. In our body, extra glucose is stored as glycogen, which is a reserved food. Then what this glucagon does? Glucagon, when it is released, it acts on liver cells, hepatocytes, and breaks glycogen. Glycogen is broken and glycogen is converted to glucose. So it is increased blood sugar, that is called hyperglycemia. So glucagon, when it is released in the blood, it increases sugar level in the blood, then it is called hyperglycemia. That is why hormone glucagon is called hyperglycemic hormone or hyperglycemic factor. Stimulates gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis means production of glucose. Okay, production of glucose from glycogen. Then extra glucose will be again converted to glycogen. Then reduces the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. Meaning cells using glucose and using them, it stops. What happens, if cells use all the glucose, then again blood sugar level decreases. So it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't allow it to happen. It will not allow cells to take glucose. So all the glucose remains in the blood only. So sugar level in the blood increases. Insulin is required, insulin hormone when it is produced, that will bring the sugar level down. Otherwise, person will die. Next, second hormone, that is insulin. It is called hypoglycemic. Glucagon is called hyperglycemic. This is called hypo. Hyper means more, hypo means less. Hypoglycemic meaning it brings sugar level down and balances. So functions, it acts on hepatocytes, means it acts on liver cells, then adipocytes, adipose tissue, that is fat tissue in the body, and enhances cellular glucose uptake, means it increases cells to take glucose. So cells starts using glucose. When cells start using glucose, then glucose level in the blood decreases because cells are using it. So cellular glucose uptake and utilization. So blood glucose level rapidly moves to the hepatocytes. That means sugar level in the blood goes to liver cells. Okay, thus blood glucose level decreases. That is why it decreases sugar level in the blood. So it is called hypoglycemia. Hypo means less. Okay, so stimulates glycogenesis, that is glucose is converted to glycogen. So extra glucose what is there, all that glucose is converted to glycogen, so that glucose level in the blood decreases. Because of two reasons glucose level in the blood decreases. One reason is cells will start using glucose and extra glucose is converted to glycogen. Okay, this is exactly insulin does, exactly opposite of what glucagon does. Okay, next, what are the disorders? Diabetes mellitus is what we call diabetes, that is sugar. Okay, it is disorder due to prolonged hyperglycemia, meaning only glucagon is produced and blood sugar level increases. Continuously sugar level in the blood increases for a longer period. When insulin is not produced, then it is called diabetes mellitus. Symptoms: loss of glucose through urine. Glucose passes through urine. Like some people do this test, what is that? Urinating outside in the, on the ground. At that time ants will gather. Ants will usually gather wherever sweet is there, So their urine will be having glucose. So loss of glucose through urine and formation of harmful compounds. Harmful compounds will be there called ketone bodies. So if in a urine test, when they do urine test in the hospitals, if they find ketone bodies and glucose in the urine, it indicates that person has diabetes mellitus. Treatment is insulin therapy. What is that? Injecting insulin. So diabetes patients will take insulin injection, because their pancreas doesn't produce insulin. So as their body doesn't produce, so ready-made insulin available in the medical shops, that they inject. Okay, that is a condition. Next, reproductive organs. Next, this is different in male, different in female. So gonads means reproductive organs. So they are showing male reproductive organ here and female reproductive organ there. That male reproductive organ produces many hormones. Female reproductive organ also produces many hormones. Male reproductive organ is testes. Why they have written testes? In English, singular plural forms are there. Ekavachana, bahuvachana antivalla. Singular form is testis when you are talking about only one. But human male has two. Human male alli eradu testis ide. When more than one is there, then it is called testes. You see there, TESTES. If only one is there, IS comes. So testes, that is male gonad, means male reproductive organ. Ovary is female gonad or female reproductive organ. Okay, so one by one. Testis, you can see male reproductive structure here. Already you have learnt in 10th standard, you know very well. So we are talking about this now, testis, what it produces. So male primary sex organ and also endocrine gland. You know what is primary sex organ? Primary sex organ is an organ which produces reproductive cells, that is sperm in male, egg in female. So it's a primary sex organ and endocrine gland. A pair of testes present in the scrotal sac. Scrotal sac means a pouch like structure. You know, testis outside it has a bag like structure, that is called scrotum. You know this. So scrotal sac, sac means bag like structure, so it is testis is present in the bag like structure, that is called scrotum, scrotal sac. Then if you see the inner parts of the testis, it is formed of seminiferous tubules. Like inside the testis, if you take cross section of testis, you will find many millions of highly coiled tube like structures, that is called seminiferous tubules. Name only says seminiferous, means semen bearing structures. What is semen? Semen is a white color fluid, whitish fluid which contains millions of sperms. Okay, and also contains interstitial cells or stromal cells. Okay, that is in between the seminiferous tubules, what tissue is there? Na? In between the seminiferous tubules, what tissue is there? That is called interstitium or stromal tissue. Then special cells are there, that is special cells are there in between the seminiferous tubules where interstitium is present. It is called interstitial cell or also called Leydig cell. Leydig is a name of scientist. Understand, okay, what I am saying? What I am saying, these are the seminiferous tubules. In between the seminiferous tubule, what cell is there? That is called interstitium or interstitial cell. Interstitial cells are called Leydig cells. Okay, yeah, interstitial cell or Leydig cell. It's a inner tubular space which produces hormones. So Leydig cells, that is the cells present between the seminiferous tubules, they produce hormone called androgen. That is male hormone. Which androgen? Male hormone is testosterone. Testosterone is a hormone. Okay, see they are saying androgen means male hormone. Mainly testosterone is produced by Leydig cells or interstitial cells present between the seminiferous tubule. Okay, seminiferous tubule means inside the seminiferous tubule sperms will be produced. Okay, what are the functions of these hormones? Testosterone function. What is their function? You can see that they are showing in the picture only. Regulate the development of maturation and functions of accessory sex organs. Meaning, maturation of sex organ is also because of this testosterone. Then spermatogenesis. Sperms are produced in the testis because of testosterone hormone. Then stimulates sexual behavior, also called libido. Sexual behavior is called libido. Okay, that is growth of muscles, hairs, body hairs, starts developing, growth of muscles, then getting hairs around the reproductive organs, then aggressiveness, aggressive behavior, low pitch voice. In case of male, voice changes. When they were in childhood, their voice and girls' voice, boys and girls' voice is almost same. Then after sometimes, what happens when they start aging after 11 years or 12 years, then their voice changes. That is male voice usually becomes rough. Okay, low pitch voice, etc. Help in anabolism of protein and carbohydrate. Anabolism means building up process. That is helps in production of protein and carbohydrate. So more protein and more carbohydrate are produced. So we will continue this, that is next part, that is female reproductive organ, in next class. Okay, so keep watching my classes. Thank you.